don't give a damn about stake, so we come in small, neutral, independent like angels, but to that position we bring on our VC network and our VC expertise because we've been VCs, and so we help founders, we tell them we become your in-house VC and we help you hack the systems. So a year ago with this thesis we went out to raise a fund that is mainly backed by 10 founders. We have 20 founders of unicorns and decacorns, and that is called Cocoa because Cocoa is the seed of chocolate, and from the cocoa beans to the chocolate bar you have many stages like you do in the life of a startup. And basically 2021 when we did this, and actually I was sitting on this stage I think a year ago, was a completely different world to your point, and it was a very different market. It was a market where most things would get funded and where it was very driven by FOMO, so little DD and a lot of fear of missing out on deals, which led to also backing a lot of models that where the economics didn't work, assuming that if you gave companies a lot of capital, they would reach to a scale where those would work, and that if your company was the one that had more capital, it would win against others. And I guess we all know the world we're in today, it's a different one.
We will for sure get back to how the metrics have changed, how you're having different conversations with founders, but let's go to Sabina and tell me a bit about how you at Creando are trying to adapt your thinking about the market based on what's happened in the last year.
Yeah, so I think most VCs in the world have been, they're guilty of a little bit, unsoberness in the last couple of years, right? So I think it's, for everyone, both founders and VCs, it's back to doing our core job really well. And for me, I was a VC 8 years ago to 5 years ago. So I left the market 2016, and then I came back in peak market in the beginning of 2021, and I was in shock about what I came back to. A rounds were 20 million euros, deals were done in 48 hours, you barely had time to look under the hood, there was barely no data rooms. And I was like, oh wow, is this the new reality, right? And it was not, it was just a short period of insanity. So in my eyes, only looking at early stage, I think this is more normal. I don't think it's super bad. I think this is a great opportunity to start good companies. I think this is a great time to invest in early stage companies. It's just back to fundamentals about it's still going to be high growth. Yeah. It's just going to be the right work. It's going to be revenue focused and not eyeballs or GitHub stars. Right? Yeah. I think it's more just doing your job well. Yeah. And shaking off that FOMO that's
and you said two things that we have to come back to, which is we were a bit fucked for a period. We were like in insanity stage where we're just shooting money around. He said it. We've been a bit very too honest here, so we have to go back to looking at it and saying, why did you go on with it? But Anthony, tell us just a bit about WonderCo and how you see the market in Europe versus the US. Because you're investing both places.
Yeah, so the funny thing about it is I reflected a lot on how we got here, right? And if you think about the pandemic, it shook us to a place where we were all eager on how to be productive. It drove us crazy. So what did we all do? We met 15 we had a mini Y Combinator every day for us. We literally sat through a Y Combinator demo day every day. And just off sheer volume, what are you gonna do? You're gonna like more things, you're gonna invest in more things. And I think the dynamics of what was happening really disrupted our discipline in a way. And I don't hold that over us. What would have anybody done, right? So to me, I don't look at this as a problem, I look at it as a moment to reset. It's great, I came into VC in a bear market where you used to get 2 to 3 months to make a decision. So it feels good to get 2 to 3 weeks again. But yeah, quite honestly, I'm just treating it how I treated it when I first came into the business. So it's not much changed on that front. I will say that founders are scared, and figuring out ways to be comforting, get honest with them has definitely been a big challenge for us. But we kind of plowed through it.
So now getting back to the reflection conversation about why did we let it come to this? Why did we agree to sign term sheets that, you know, with companies where it's barely gotten to meet the founder? What happened inside your firms that allowed you to, you know, be okay with it?
So I'm absolutely take your advice. I don't think it's what happened inside venture firms specifically, it's what happened in the world, right? Like, I mean, it was a world of zero interest rates, or like monetary institutions and like central banks were printing money as if there was no tomorrow, or there was lots of money flowing into just basically like not a lot of money for the value, intrinsic value of assets, right? I think when you come down to actual VC, and this is something we've done a lot of thinking because we're new managers, you know, emerging managers need to learn how to manage that so it doesn't happen. At the end, the conclusion as well is like, as investors, like, we are all humans, as humans, and then the same as founders. Why did founders take 50 million when they needed 25? Well, because they were humans, and it's very hard to resist to the environment and to the momentum. And I think the key learning from us in that is that we need to be more disciplined. We need to have rules and stick to them, because even if sticking to a rule means we will miss one opportunity, in the long term and on average it will keep us disciplined, as it's very hard to believe that you're going to be a disciplined, consistent thinker on your own when the whole market's going crazy. And if the best investors in the world are signing term sheets in 48 hours, and the best founders in the world are taking 15 to 25, like, and the problem is like, I think one thing that Sabina said makes a lot of sense, which is we're back to reality and to the normal situation, and that personally gives me a lot of mental comfort that things that don't make sense don't last. But we all had to learn that, right? Like, and you kind of forget that it's gonna end, and also when is it gonna end, and how much money are you not gonna make. So I think it's just a good learning, a reset of our framework, and our generation of investors shouldn't forget that like this can happen, and sort of keep our rules, our discipline going.
So Sabina, you came back to the industry and said, wow, what's going on now? Tell me a bit more about how did you adjust, and then now, after having adjusted, are you coming back to the old mindset that you used to have 5 years ago?
So, I mean, I think to Carmen's point, right? You know, it's not, you know, the VCs or the growth funds or the founders that are to blame, but you either had to play by the rules, which was signing term sheets 48 hours at certain valuations, or you didn't play at all, right? So I think you had to adapt a little bit, but of course, you know, not everyone is falling into the same pit, I think. And, you know, I come from an operational background. You know, just recently I was, you know, head of all the numbers at the company I was working at. So, you know, I think, you know, for me, I hope, you know, luckily didn't have time to adjust to not looking at the proper numbers during the time it was still, you know, bull market. And I think, you know, adjusting now, I think it's more about, you know, founders and VCs meeting again in what the deals should look like, what the company needs to look like to raise X money. I think a lot of the, you know, I can understand why founders are a little bit scared right now when it feels very threatening, but I do think that's more because of the uncertainty rather than that the A round now is 8 to 10 million euros, because you can definitely do something great if you get that, you know, 10 million euros in cash and you see a company there, but it's the uncertainty of, you know, can I raise now? What does it need to look like now? And I think, you know, those questions can't be answered now. It was very uncertain during spring and summer, but, you know, now we're adjusting back to normal. So it's about having these conversations and not going out to raise these 20 million euros, because great companies, you know, good founders building companies in big markets that have their, you know, fundamental product market fitness and unit economics, they will raise from great investors. You know, none of the great early stage investors have stopped deploying capital, regardless of what the rumor says.
So now I want to shift the conversation to a bit more VC to start, VC to founder, and I don't want to talk about how do you look at new investments, because that's a bit back to the old school. But what we have now is we've got the established portfolio that raised in a different market and got money from you in a different market, and you honestly also said, well, we'll fund you on this plan, it'll work out, and then the market has now changed. How are you resetting the conversation with the established portfolio founders? Anthony, feel free to start.
Well, did you also want to touch on new investments as well?
Yeah.
So I think this is actually something that was meaningfully changing for us a little bit before the pandemic, which was we kind of had an aha moment in 2019 around fintech, where it just became like a marketing business, and I couldn't see the there. Revenue was going up, cost of revenue was going up, and I just was like, I think this is like a Ponzi scheme. I wasn't quite sure at the moment. So I took a step back and I said, we got to think about how we can meaningfully impact revenue. And I think that has been the number one development in how we changed our investment thesis. If I can't sit with a founder, look at their business, and say, oh, I can actually make this phone call, connected with this person to help them bring revenue into the door, I don't really do that. And I think you have to, it's very simple and black and white as it seems, but you'd be shocked at what you discover. For example, my background's in entertainment and music, so a lot of my Rolodex is in the Fortune 1000 space. I've done endorsement deals and brand deals and whatnot. So I realized, hey, I should be doing more B2B SaaS, because I can connect founders and sales teams with these corporate companies. So we decided to get more into that space and learn what corporate companies want to offer their employees and whatnot. So I think for us, we almost reverse engineered it. What are we best at? How can we make the most meaningful impact to a company? And then we decide if we want to invest. That's probably the biggest change, I would say.
Carmen?
I think, to be honest, what I tell portfolio, and our portfolio is very young, but I have a big angel portfolio that raised during the crazy times. And what I tell new founders is very much the same. It's get 24 months X revenue of runway to the point, because if you count the revenue, the issue you have is that generating that revenue has a cost. So, and founders, like investors, are natural optimists. So you're not going to take into account the recession, what that's going to do to your revenue. So,